Thanks, guys. Like you said, it wasn't the greatest season in terms of record for Iowa basketball, but there was definitely something special about last night's win.
Yeah, in 5 years, we're going to forget about the season entirely, but I think this last game was one to hold on to for a while.
I definitely agree. So Iowa basketball closed out their regular season in a picture-perfect way last night. The Hawks clinched a win against the Northwestern Wildcats and got the victory inside their home court. There was a lot to celebrate about the game and a lot to celebrate about one particular player, and that's Jordan Bohannon.
Jordan Bohannon and Isaiah Moss were on fire against Northwestern's defense. Moss was consistent with three-pointers and tallied 12 points on the game, including this play, which started a pattern of many threes to follow.
Bohannon and Moss were a powerful duo on the offense, as Bohannon attempts the three, and Moss is there to help him recover and make sure the ball goes into that basket. Bohannon not only was heating up in the first half, hitting 6 threes, he was also tied with the late Chris Street's consecutive free throw record at 34.
Bohannon had then made the decision to intentionally miss his potential 35th straight free throw to share the record with Chris Street, saying, "It wasn't my record to have."
I think under the circumstances, Mike, because of whose record it was. I mean, to me, that if it's anybody else's record, yeah, okay, we can talk about it. But you know, the circumstances under which, a family member of ours is taken from us, we remember that. And he's an Iowa kid. You have another Iowa kid, ties the record, and I didn't know he was going to do it. Like I said, he points to the sky and missed it. It says a lot about him. He needs to be aggressive like that for us to be who we can be. So, same thing with Isaiah. I tell him the same thing all the time. And I thought he was terrific at the beginning of the game. And I thought even in the second half, he was driving the ball.
The Hawks look to use the confidence coming off this victory as they head into the postseason Big Ten tournament, where they will face off against Illinois.
On Saturday, the women's basketball team hosted Indiana in their final regular season home game of the year.
In the first period, Iowa got off to a 20-5 start with this pass from Kathleen Doyle to Hannah Stewart, who hits the around-the-rim jumper.
Later in the first half, Doyle passes it to Sanders, who hits Gustafson down low. Megan gets her own rebound, the bucket, and the and one. Iowa into half up 42-24.
In the second half, Gustafson passes it to senior Carly Moans, who gives it right back to Megan, driving past two defenders for the shot attempt. She gets her own rebound and capitalizes with 36 points and 15 rebounds on the night, and helped Iowa cruise past the Hoosiers 75-62.
We knew this game was going to be tough. Indiana coming in 8-0, we're 6-0, something had to give. But for us to be able to come out and do this without Lexi today, who does have influenza. We hope to have her back for the Big Ten tournament, though. And for us to be able to adjust on the fly with that, I'm really proud of our team. 4 people in double figures, 21 assists, 11 turnovers, all good numbers for us. But most importantly, that we send out Chase and Carly on a positive note and enter into the Big Ten tournament on a positive note.
Tune in this week for a special Women's Big Ten Tournament preview show, hosted by our very own Lucy Rodine and Mary-Kate Harrion.
The men's gymnastics team was back in Carver this weekend, where they faced the number 5 team in the nation, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. On the first rotation of the night, Dylan Ellsworth finished second on the floor with a 14-point score.
On the pommel horse, Austin Hodges took home Iowa's first event title of the night with a 14.2.
Jake Brudizon took the home rings event title with a score of 13.9.
And on the vault, Ellsworth tied for first with a 14.85. Ellsworth took home his second event title of the night with a 13.75 on the parallel bars.
And on the final rotation of the night, Andrew Odor finished the first record with a 13.7 on the event titles, but only 5 for the Hawkeyes. Not enough as they fell in this one to Nebraska, 402.8 to 398.5.
We did some uncharacteristic falls, and then those things sort of stayed with us. Palm horse, obviously, we got guys that are really good in the event. They cannot have those falls that way. And then everything else, like we're still counting a number of falls on events. We have to be better at our strengths and not have the misses, and floor is one of our weaker events. We actually did fairly well there today. And it was split. Like, some guys were awesome. Ellsworth was amazing today. And then he didn't get the backup from the teammates that he needed. But that is sport.
The team's really young. A lot of guys are still learning. So the fact that we didn't capitalize isn't that big of a surprise. But the fact that it's this late in the season is kind of still a bummer. But besides that, I think we did some great gymnastics, and we proved that teams that are ranked above us don't necessarily need to be ranked above us.
The team will be back in Carver this Saturday when they host Penn State and Arizona State.
As the regular seasons are ending for winter sports, spring sports are just starting.
The Iowa baseball team was led to victory on Sunday by Cole McDonald. He pitched a solid 7 innings, then was relieved by Kyle Schimpf that closed out the last 2. The Hawkeyes won 8-2 over New Orleans at the All-State Sugar Bowl Baseball Classic finale.
That's a mouthful. And that's all we have for you today in the sports studio. Make sure to tune in for tomorrow for our pregame show on Iowa baseball and their home opener at Dwayne Banks Field.
And tune in Wednesday for our pregame show for women's basketball as they enter the Big Ten tournament. Guys, back to you.